Welcome to the Union Weekly Insider. I'm Andrew Lindy. This is the official podcast for the Union Weekly out of Cal State Long Beach. I'm going to take you behind the scenes and show you what it takes to put together a weekly student publication. Back in episode 5, we touched on the ASI Media Board of Trustees. This is a group of students who are tasked with overseeing the three branches of student media at Cal State Long Beach: K-Beach Radio, College Beat, and the Union Weekly. In this episode, you'll hear from some of them, and we'll find out why they joined student government. But first, let's hear what Editor-in-Chief Alex Ramos was told about the Media Board.
I mean, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, just doing all the meetings and having to deal with the bureaucracy. It's not as bad, it's just it takes so long that if you come up with anything, it has to be short notice, then you might as well not plan on having it happen anytime soon.
Did you interact much with them last semester?
Just for that one meeting to sort of introduce me and say, hey, this is the new Union Weekly guy. But then I think they changed, right?
Yeah, generally they change every year.
Okay, yeah. So I have no idea who the media board is this year. Just kind of a headache. We talked about this in our convergence meetings or our media trainings with K-Beach and College Beat. It was basically like, look, nothing got done last year for this idea of convergence because the media board changes so much. Apparently it's been a thing for over a year and a half. You have audio of Molly talking about it and saying how they're going to work more with K-Beach and College Beat.
Here's former Editor-in-Chief Molly Shannon talking about convergence in 2014.
So we're trying to work with, College Beat, right? College Beat?
No.
They shoot videos, some original, some more newsy about campus and stuff. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to work with them more for our features. So us, them, and K-Beach, we're all trying to work together more. Oh. So they're gonna start shooting videos for some of our features, and we were wondering if before one of your events, your upcoming events, we could tape you what it's like to prepare for the show and stuff.
As a reminder, convergence is the idea that going forward, journalists must be proficient in writing, audio, and video. Rather than having different people cover the same story in different ways, one person can cover it in all ways. Back to Alex.
This has been a thing for almost 2 years, and nothing has happened because every time a new media board starts, you gotta start the whole process over. You gotta have discussions and talks and plan things out to the T. And it's kind of annoying. It's kind of a hassle. Media board, just let us do what we do.
Before the first meeting of the media board, Alex seemed pretty confident about the media board's role.
I don't want to think of it as doing it to please the media board. That's not my intention. That's not my goal. I want to do it for the sake of ourselves, meaning Union Weekly, K-Beach, and College Beat. I don't want to do things for the media board. Because as far as I've heard, it's a very distant relationship. It's very, they're up there, they're being official, they're running things money-wise, policy-wise, all that, which is fine. You need people to do that. But we're down here, and I don't want to wait for them to make up their minds and decide what they want to do in order for us to move forward.
After the second meeting, Alex had some different, stronger opinions.
So the whole thing, a lot of it was convergence, and I thought it was going to be a productive conversation on convergence, but it seems like every time we bring it up, it just turns into, okay, convergence? We're going to do convergence, right? Let's do convergence, and then nothing gets done about it. And it's just kind of like, well, what the hell is the point of these meetings if we're not going to get anything done? It's a waste of my time to come in and tell you, oh, hey, this is what we're doing in the office. Why don't you just come into my office, ask me how we're doing, and I'll tell you, so I don't have to go up there and sit for 2 hours and listen to stuff that really doesn't concern me. And also that I don't have any voting rights over it. I can't vote on any of the issues in there, which is kind of irritating. How are you going to vote for us, for the media, on things that we can't decide? We should get a say in what's going on in there. So the whole convergence thing is just running in circles right now. Part of it being because there you want to figure out a format for the website, which is a whole long back and forth of, do you like this format? Do you like that format? How about this template right here? Is this okay with you? And it's going to take a long time to do something that can get done in a week if we just really got together and talked about it and went over it like that. So what I'm doing in response to that is I'm saying, look, the old website is a piece of shit. It's old. It's unwieldy. It's not my favorite website to go to. I never once visited it when I was writing because I just did not like navigating that website. And we're abandoning that in favor of Medium. And I've already ran that by some people. They said they like it. They like the idea. It's not going to hurt us in any way because we're not running any ads on the old website. And so it'll just be a matter of us choosing to go straight to Medium. So for that, we're going to stop uploading the issue. We're going to stop using the old website. We're going to focus all of our efforts onto Medium so that more people go to it and it becomes this sort of centralized location where people can find our stories. Yeah, that's the gist of what happened at the media board meeting and my reaction to it. But I do wish it wasn't I do wish it wasn't a once a month thing. I do wish there was more cohesiveness to it. I do wish there was just a little bit more passion in it, because sometimes those 2 meetings that I sat in and then maybe the couple that I sat in last semester, it just felt really robotic. It just felt like we were going through items on an agenda without really taking too much time, because there's so much stuff on the agenda that you can't really discuss anything in fully in depth without taking up like 3 hours of the day.
I had to ask Alex if he had to interact with any other member of student government besides the media board.
I know we talked to the ASI press secretary, Emily Ayers. She's been sending us these blurbs with updates from ASI, which I'm okay with. We're allowing her to write that for us, but we're being transparent about it. Instead of calling her a contributor, we're actually putting her position as an ASI press secretary so that people know that's who it's coming from. I think that's a really cool feature to have, so that people know there's things happening with ASI, there's events that they can attend and take part of, and it's a different way for ASI to get that information out there.
I'll have to get the press secretary on the podcast soon. The ASI Media Board of Trustees is made up of 4 trustees at large, voted in by the student populace in the spring semester elections. This year, the board only started out with 2 members, Julio Rosales and Matthew Taylor. In their second meeting, they added 2 new members, Naomi Cheyenne Huansky and Kimberly Coulantes. Several years ago, I was the chair of the ASI Media Board, and the process of adding new members once the semester starts was something I experienced as well. The current media board chair is Julio. Here, he explains who makes up the media board and what they do.
We have multiple people who are on the board. So the 3 media managers of each one of the media outlets, K-Beach, College Beat, and the Union Weekly, they are on the board, but they're non-voting members. We also have, sometimes we'll have a faculty advisor, a president's designee, a Senate representative, 4 media trustees at large, which are students on the campus, and pretty much everybody but the 3 media managers, for the most part, other than like the people who are taking the minutes and Richard, who's also there, are actual voting members. So when these voting members came in, they come in. There were 3 interviews. They present their interviews in front of the board. We ask them a few questions. We look over their resumes. We just be sure that they're going to be the right fit for the board. And after that, we decided to vote in 2 of them, and they now are moving on to the next process, which they're going to go off to the Senate to be reviewed one more time and just be officially voted in. So the media board, they're an advisory board. So all the content and everything is obviously still produced from each one of the media outlets. So as an advisory board, it's our job to kind of like steer the ship in a way, but not like have a hands-on approach where we go in and actually are moving things. So that kind of makes sense. So pretty much is like our main goals, like I said, is we want to achieve the convergence and have that website. The content and everything that's in there on the website is obviously going to be up to what's produced from the different media outlets, but the actual like push to actually want to achieve those goals and make sure that we're moving in the right directions, whether it be moving the marketing project along, whether it be making sure that we're kind of just keeping in check with what's going on within these different outlets are actually happening. So as an advisory board, we're more of the people who are like the eyes who look over them, and we provide our like advice or our feedback of what we see or what we believe the students really want or what they want from like their needs. But it's a balance because we can't vote or we can't tell anybody what to or what not to produce.
Julio currently has a radio show on K-Beach called Kinda Sorta Maybe, and is looking into contributing to the other media.
Well, for College Beat, I mainly participated with them more like my first or second year. Then I kind of like left the outlet for a little while, just in school, a little busy during that time. I still have a radio show on K-Beach that I host just once a week as a volunteer. It's a fun thing. And I've recently started looking more into like the Union Weekly, but I'm not sure how great of a writer I am and how I'd be able to contribute in that way. So possibly.
What's your radio show called?
Kinda Sorta Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's it about?
We play all types of music, and there's like not one set genre. So it's kind of fun because it's like every last Thursday of the month, there'll be like a party hour where it's like every single kind of genre of music is pushed together, and then the rest of the weeks are either like spotlights on a certain genre or topic or an artist or whatever it might be, and it's a lot of fun.
Besides working with some of the student media before, he has previously been a part of Model United Nations on campus. Basically, Julio is prepared to lead the board in times of crisis and fun.
I know that if there are grievances that are happening within the media outlets, whether it be on like something that was produced, written, or said like on air, and someone wants to present that, the grievances will be presented to the board, and from there the board can decide with certain decisions I think what they want to do. I'm not sure about like firing, but I believe if there's maybe like somewhat of like a majority vote or something, I think that's something that can happen, but that's not usually what they would do. Most of the time it's that they are in charge of like more of the hiring-ish process, depending on what the position might be. Or let's say if one of the outlets hires somebody and they need to be kind of like approved by the board can do that. The board also kind of reviews the budgets in the different outlets, so they kind of remind them and saying like, hey, we're under budget, or hey, we're over budget, we should maybe look at this one more time and figure out what we want to do.
ASI Media Board Vice Chair Matthew has helped out with K-Beach's coverage of student sports and is looking forward to continuing to contribute.
I was mainly doing the sports broadcasting. I was one of the volunteer sports broadcasters for K-Beach Radio, so I, along with a bunch of other students, we volunteered to cover some games, most notably women's soccer, which I've been helping out along with this year as well, along with also the Dirtbags, so we've been covering for baseball. Both good teams, so it was fun. We got to be in the stadium, work alongside professionals, so it was a good experience to get started in radio. One of the perks of my job is that I could critique or like the work that is published. So it's a fun part of the job. I get to see what's been working well. I get to as a part of my job, I get to see what everyone creates. So I get to see what I like, what I don't like. Get to gauge things to my interests, but also gauge things to the rest of the audience's interests. I think I've also have been doing some volunteering. I volunteered still with women's soccer this season. They've been doing quite well. They're doing a big road trip now, so it's good to see that I can both remain as a partial volunteer, but definitely have to branch out to all three branches and be impartial because I have this new role.
Matthew is friends with previous Media Board Chair Deshae Gully, and that influenced his decision to join the Media Board.
It really started a while back when I ran into my friend Deshae. He was the original chair of the ASI Media Board of Trustees last year. We knew each other from our club, Model United Nations. So from him, he was telling me before he left to go study abroad, he told me that I should really get into this program with ASI, especially because I had done previous sports broadcasting with KBH Radio. So he said from there, with my experience in both Model United Nations along with some broadcasting and media experience, I basically decided to apply for the ASI Media Board trustees position, and here I am today. I mean, it was a shame because I think what he really said, it was because it was at a get together later on, like before he went away, so it was just meaningful. It was one of the last things I heard from him before he went to study abroad. He was like, yes, so Matt, I want you, basically he was telling me, I would really like it if you would do this for me. Basically, he was like, it felt like he was passing the torch figuratively, where that I would take over for him, and I just felt like there was this, not so much, I don't want to say burden, but at the same time, this feeling where it's like, well, it's up to you now, so to do this. So, and then I think that just with him talking about that, and also just seeing all the benefits you get as a student leader of ASI Media and things I'm just learning alongside right now, I think it's nice that I finally have gotten involved, so it's a great place to be.
Like Julio, Matthew sees convergence as the next step for student media on campus.
Well, first off, we are covering, we already had a new brand covered. We had a new brand, which was 22us, so that was the first step to get it covered. So we have a new logo now that everyone will share. It won't be, the point, we're not trying to exclude anyone from, we're not saying your ideas aren't as good, but because we have three very distinct three very different media outlets, and in certain parts can converge. So the parts that we can converge over are the ones we are most ideally are the ones that we want to convert over. And then we basically will have, the next step would be to maybe creating content, because we want to have certain content on the website we want to show to our audience, because they're the most important people in media. We want to make sure that our audience is both satisfied and seeing the great creativity that's coming from students, and having them not even realize that these are actually students making this great content. So I think that would be the next step, and then finally implementing the website and the showing it off to the audience. So we want to get all the content first, and then get out there and deliver the message. So mainly, it is lots of preparation before we can get to the final steps.
Do you think you'll see that within your time at the board?
I'd say so. I mean, that's definitely the goal. We have to definitely, the thing is, we are definitely hitting the ground running. We didn't start before. Had we started earlier, of course, we probably could have had a lot more. We have more time, but it will be, I guess you could say we will be racing against the clock to figure out, to get as much as we can in just this 1 year alone. Since we're only here for 1 year, there's only so much we can do on the board, and there's only so many things we can. We can't fix every single problem or revamp everything that or promote everything that is doing well. So we have to kind of pick and choose and see what we can do best.
Media Board trustee Naomi joined the Media Board after being asked to by Matthew.
I was a part of KBH Radio last year, and I met Jay Holloway, who took me under his arm and basically showed me the ropes around the station, and I got to conduct interviews and work the board for the radio. And I also met someone named Matthew Taylor, who is currently a member of the Media Board of Trustees right now. And I bumped into him one day after class, and he said, "Hey, are you busy right now?" I said, "No, I'm not busy." And he said, "Can you come with me to my office hours for ASI Media Board of Trustees?" I'm like, "What's that?" So then he kind of showed me the ropes around that, and he said, "Hey, there's a vacant position. Do you want to apply?" And I was like, "Sure, why not? That seems interesting. I'm very adamant about social media. I was involved in student government in high school. It seems like something I want to do." So I applied, and then I went to the meeting. I really didn't think I would actually, I didn't feel well prepared for it. The email was very vague about what I was supposed to do. But I just kind of told them about my heart and how I feel about getting students involved, and how I think it's very important for students to get involved in order to feel confident and comfortable in their academics and socially. So that's basically how it happened.
Naomi wants to make sure student media relates to all of the students.
Well, obviously, just to get more students to feel comfortable and confident on campus and get involved, and to just perform well socially and academically, and just to find a way to make it relate to everyone. It is already related to everyone, but I feel like some students maybe feel like, oh, that's not for me to get involved, but I want everyone to feel like it is for them. So.
And how do you feel like the Media Board could accomplish that?
The Media Board could accomplish that in multiple ways. To become more active on social media. I'd say that we are pretty active already, but in different ways where we can relate to the students about different events that are happening, pop culture, current events, news, and just to express that more and to get people just to be able to be like, wow, that's so interesting. I want to look into that, you know. It can be something as simple as, hey, are you looking to advertise your club? Talk to Union Weekly, they'll put an ad in the newspaper. Something as simple as that. So
I was unable to interview the final trustee at large, Kimberly, but I'll keep you updated on what happens with the Media Board and Convergence. Next week's episode will be probably one of the most memorable episodes. Stick around after the credits for clues on what's coming soon on the Union Weekly Insider. Also, please check out our YouTube page, youtube.com/The Union Weekly. Here's Allison.
Thank you for listening to the Union Weekly Insider. To listen to more episodes, check us out on iTunes or any of your favorite podcast apps. New episodes of this podcast drop every Wednesday during the semester. Special thanks to multimedia assistant Allison Meyer, that's me, for additional editing and recording. Our multimedia manager is Andrew Lindy. Music in this episode is from the YouTube audio library. You can find issues of the Long Beach Union Weekly online at lbunion.com and on Medium. Go to medium.com and search Long Beach Union Weekly. Please follow us on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Union Weekly.
Next time on the Union Weekly Insider. Tell me about your childhood.
When I was a child, I had a beard the size of, actually bigger than this, surprisingly. It was very disproportionate to the rest of my body, so it actually looked bigger because of that. Other than that, though, my childhood was full of wonders, amazement, and joys.
Trim your beard, it's getting out of control.
The neatly trimmed head just becoming a thicket.
today.
What are some other words that we can't say on the radio?
It's a lot, Andrew.